As the world continues to fall into considerable decay with increased pricing, AI ruining essentially everything, and billionaires seeking to control every aspect of our personal lives, well, it's no surprise that the vast majority of us are getting a little ticked off. But what if I told you of a combination that offers some reprieve in these dark and perilous times? That's right, folks, we're talking about more of my favorite video games that pair well with the sticky icky. So pass the booth, couch lock yourself in, and enjoy as we take a look at more of my favorite video games that pair well with La Ganja.
I am a man of fortune, and I must seek my fortune.
With the more recent release of the Legacy of Thieves bundle and the ability to play these games in 4K resolution on a PlayStation 5, it really is just one of the prettiest games that my stony little eyeballs have ever gazed upon. And goddamn, this game just continues to age like a fine wine. Or a fine bud?
Jesus Christ!
Even if you still own a PS4, the graphics hold up extremely well, and I would argue it still beats the majority of AAA games that have come out within the last decade. When my brain is especially toasted, I really can't get over all of the unique locations that this game takes you to. I'll spend literal minutes just standing there looking at the incredible vistas and exploring every secret in the large open world sections. Everything is just bursting with these vibrant and vivid colors. Oddly enough, I also found that I'm way more patient when it comes to the combat and stealth sections while under the influence. There's just something really hypnotizing about crawling through the super detailed foliage to stealth kill enemies. I don't know, man, there's just something about it that really tickles my dopey little brain. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here to include this one, as Link's Awakening is one of the trippier titles in the Zelda timeline. Director Takashi Tezuka even said he took inspiration directly from Twin Peaks, another piece of media that I would argue is quintessential for stoners. It's your typical Zelda adventure, but everything about it is just slightly off, and constantly had me going, I remember playing this back in 2019 when it first came out, and getting pretty frustrated because there's multiple instances where you can miss out on a certain item and not be able to progress the story without it. But I replayed the game this year under the influence of some of that sweet jazz cabbage, and I found myself taking more time to really soak in the world around me. And it sounds kind of cheesy when I say it out loud, but I honestly wasn't getting as frustrated with a lot of the puzzles here. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't include Echoes of Wisdom, which you could technically see as the spiritual successor to this game. However, this one has the unique aspect of completely ditching the normal gameplay mechanics that you'd find in your typical Zelda adventure, instead having the player summon enemy NPCs and objects to essentially do all their work for them. Normally I always stuck with the same echoes that were the most familiar to me, but with the power of the devil's lettuce, I was definitely more open to experimentation. I never got the chance to play the original back in 2005, so I'm really glad they remade this game for modern consoles. It was also originally priced at only $40, unlike some remakes I know. But I digress. Similar to Uncharted, this game just looks absolutely sensational! There's just so many moments here where I had to remember to close my mouth because of how entranced I was walking around in these environments. The character physics were certainly a choice, but hey, if you tried to climb one of these things using only your core wrist strength, I'm sure you'd be flailing around just as much. No other game has managed to give me such a huge surge of euphoria when I am under the evanescence of marijuana. Managing to finally climb on top of one of these thick lads, and the orchestra comes to a full swell. Oh man, I feel like no other game has been able to replicate this. Every now and then, you'll probably run into some beasties where you'll have absolutely zero idea on what to do, I'm looking directly at this douche. But the game does a fairly good job at nudging you in the right direction if you're taking too long to take down a certain enemy. Just remember to inhale, take a deep breath, and keep eating them lizard tails.
Let's all agree to meet back at the monastery exactly 5 years from today.
Like a class reunion?
You will come, won't you?
As big class reunions go, this one's gotta be the worst in history. What should we do, Teach?
This game has the unique feature of being two genres wrapped into one. You've got the tactical turn-based combat carried over from previous titles, coupled with the social sim aspects you'd see from a game like Persona. While I know the social aspects aren't going to be everyone's cup of tea, because you can literally drink tea with every NPC, it's honestly just going to depend how invested you are with the character personalities, but for me, it all clicked right away, especially being a huge fan of Persona. My toasted brain just really enjoyed running around the monastery, doing mundane things like cooking, fishing, and even gardening.
By the way, sometimes you find edible plants among the weeds.
Please do not eat the weeds.
I am just saying.
I did find that it offered a nice reprieve from when you're shaping your students to be a full-blown murderous psychopaths. I was also extremely impressed that there's not only individual support conversations that you'll have with your students, but also separate support combos that they'll have with each other. There's just so many small and fun details that you can gain from these small interactions.
When you were 8, you came on to my sweet, sweet granny. My granny!
Come on! I was 8 and she was
Jeez.
It also helps that the actual gameplay itself is pretty forgiving. Sure, there's always the chance that one of your favorite students could take a dirt nap if you're not too careful. A gameplay aspect that would normally stress me out when I'm completely zooted. Fortunately, you have the option to rewind turns if needed. Ain't nobody laying a hand on my favorite upside down boy, Claude von Regen. Definitely one of the more underrated games on this list. Okami shares a lot of similarities to Zelda, but in a very distinctive Japanese paintbrush art style. I'd argue the graphics on older consoles don't hold up as well today, but lucky for you, Capcom released an HD version which looks so much better. Obviously I picked this one for the unique art style and the really pretty colors, but the core gameplay of going to these broken down places and healing them with the power of nature to ultimately help your little animal buddies just feels like really good, man. The ability to stop time and use brush techniques to take down enemies will always feel super satisfying. If there was ever a superior version of the game, it would definitely be the Switch one, as you have the option to paint with either motion or touchscreen controls depending on how you prefer to play. And the soundtrack? Whoo boy, don't get me started. With the recent announcement that Capcom is developing a sequel, now is the best time to check this one out. I'm not gonna lie, this game was what really pushed me to make another list like this. It is just incredible to pair with some Zaza. I love me some classic Mario platformers and weed, but man, I just feel like Astro Bot is the first game in a while to give Nintendo some competition in the platforming genre. Just the haptic feedback alone that you get from the controller is unthinkable. Being able to find secret areas by touching the wall and knowing where to push it based off the vibration in your controller should not work nearly as well as it does. Every surface that Astro walks on feels distinctly different, and you can literally feel that in the controller. It's a really small detail that always manages to blow my mind when I'm melting into the couch. They even managed to put in a little bit of motion controls, and it didn't give me the urge to chuck my controller out the nearest window. Even the bosses, which I find are usually lacking in most platformers, felt like a worthy challenge here. While some PlayStation IPs have come and gone throughout the years, it was nice to see Sony at least acknowledge them here and even craft individual levels around them. And guess what? They're still actively adding content to this game for free! I know we all feel a special connection with certain game companies, but I just really appreciate Sony not actively trying to steal money directly out of my pocket. If you like video games and love to feel the strange sensation known as fun, you really need to check this one out. There's a reason this won Game of the Year. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you again for all the support. It's been almost 2 years since my last video on this topic, and I was not expecting that to blow up the way it did. But I'm also just glad I'm not the only one who appreciates the great experiences you can have when combining weed with video games. If there are any games that you love to pair with weed, feel free to sound off in the comments. Out of all the comments that were on the previous video, Skyrim was definitely the most popular game that was referenced. As a result, Skyrim is going to be the next game that I stream while under the influence of some ganja. So if you'd like to watch the full unedited playthrough of that, be sure to check out my current channel membership options. For the low price of $2.99, you will directly support the channel, as well as get full access to all of the playthroughs of games that I have played throughout the years, some of which have never made it directly to YouTube. Either way, thank you again for watching. I'll see you all in Tamriel, I think it's called. And as always, stay safe out there.